HMRC, I owe you £38,000.
I owe HMRC £38,000. First, I'm going to fix this radiator. A lovely man called Victor came into my workshop about 3 weeks ago and he asked, can you fix this in a hurry? I said no, because we're going to the NEC, we've got a very big bike show coming up, but it's come time for me to fix this radiator. So what's happened is we've over tightened, or maybe just got tired and gave up, but this little fitting here has snapped off the radiator. This radiator is from a G Wagon, so there's not many of them around, and the ones that are around are quite big money. Our job, which I've already started, is to get that back on there. Now, we don't weld this. This is solder because the fins in the radiator melt real easy, so you don't want too much of an extreme heat around there. So we use an aluminium solder, and so it's something I've never actually used before, so we're going to learn how to do it together. The first thing we do is protect the fins. So the fins are very, very delicate. If we bend any of these fins or ruin them, or even see the bars in between the fins, that's where it actually holds the oil. If we perforate them or damage them, it'll start leaking, or if we bend these fins, it will stop the radiator from working so well. So what we do is protect them. Gonna grab my shears, get this piece of thin aluminium and just chop it up so it fits neatly over the fins and protects the fins. And I'm just gonna use some simple duct tape to strap it down, stop it moving, protect it while I'm working. Next thing I'm gonna do is use a cup brush, a normal steel cup brush, and that will clean up all the area. It'll get all the dirt, oil, grease, and any of the oxides away from the material. This really has to be super clean before we start soldering. Aluminium soldering is something I've never actually done before, but I do know that you need soldering paste and aluminium solder wire. So I'm going to use this bit of aluminium, 1050 aluminium, pretty soft stuff. It's probably what's used in the rad core already. I'm going to chop it in half. Amazing. And this is what I'm going to test on. So my plan is clean them up, get them really, really super clean, mix up some of the paste, and then we put them together like this, and then we'll solder them together. Aluminium oxide is actually harder than the aluminium itself. Aluminium is very, very soft, but aluminium oxide is harder than steel. That's why they use these. These are actually made from aluminium oxide instead of sand. So we need to get as little as possible of the oxide on the aluminium. A lot of people say that you use a stainless steel wire brush, but that just puts loads of gouges in it and increases the surface area of the aluminium, and therefore you get more aluminium oxide. And I don't like doing that. I want less. I've got a sander. I'm gonna get my sander. Big thank you to Flex Tools. Who help us out a lot. They don't pay me or do anything to get me to say these kind of things. I just really, really like the tools. And you can get 5% off on Trade Counter Direct with the code BOB-T5. No, yeah, it was T5.
Yeah, it was.
We've got some aluminium brazing flux. Again, never used this stuff before. I presume it's like the other brazing flux that we use. So, nice bag of white powder. Not for me. Make a paste out of it. And then, when we rub the paste onto the workpiece, it'll stick to it. When you start to heat it up, the water evaporates and the paste is left behind. So at this point, you're probably thinking, Bob, we don't care about radiator, tell us about the VAT issue. So, right, what happened to me? Or what I did to myself was I opened a business 5.5 years ago called The Machine Shop. 4 weeks after the opening day, had to shut down because of COVID. So I did my first year with pretty much no money. I had no backup. I was just on my own and I had to do whatever I could to try and keep my bills low. But obviously the business was growing, it was doing well, and I was getting closer and closer to my VAT threshold. So VAT, value added tax, if your business earns more than like £85,000 in a year, you have to start giving 20% of everything that you make to the government so they can spend it wisely. So I didn't want to pass that threshold. So I said to my accountant, hey, I've got an idea. I'll split my business in half, because half of what I do is the machine shop and half of what I do is teaching. So we'll call one half the machine shop, we'll call the other half the weld school. And he was like, yeah, seems cool. So we went for it and we registered another business and we start trading under 2 business names. So to be fair, I did sign off in this, yeah. When we did everything and the accounts were done at the end of the year, I was like, yeah, scribble, that's my name, send it. So I take full responsibility, my fault. But I'm doing the right thing, trying to make it right. After a while, I started to lose confidence in my accountant. I wasn't really understanding him. We weren't gelling together, we'll say. So I started looking elsewhere, and I got some other people to look at my accounts and see what was going on and explain it to me in a correct way. And I met this really, really cool guy from up north, and we just kind of spoke the same language, which is perfect for me. I'm not an accountant. I don't understand jargon. But he highlighted that separating your business to avoid VAT is highly illegal, and it's called artificial separation. What I had to do was write a letter to HMRC and say, I'm really sorry I've done this. I didn't know, I shouldn't have done it. What do we need to do? So I had to go back through all my accounts for years and years and years and count up all the VAT that I owed. I had to collect every receipt I had. It was months of work, absolutely months of work. I hated it. And we came to a figure of something like £32,000 in VAT that I owed. So I said to HMRC, sorry, I've done this, I owe this much money, can we sort out a plan? So he says, yeah, no problem. So I got a payment plan in place. I'm giving all my money back to the government, as I should have in the first place, and trying to do the right thing. Now, because I've got a payment plan, there's interest on that, so it adds up to about £38,000. But what I need is your help to help me pay this off, because we've got big plans. We're moving into a huge unit, 4,800 square foot in about a year. I need to get rid of that VAT bill, and I need another £100,000 on top to kit it all out. But we've got a plan, and I need your help to fix it. But before I tell you about the plan, let's finish this radiator. I don't know what ratio to mix this, because I've never done it before.
I can't read that.
People get really uncomfortable when
they're like, I can't read.
Yeah, they don't know what to do. They're like...
They're like, ah. Like when I was on stage for Motorcycle Live, and it was like, Hans, the administrative assistant for the machine shop, and I was like, I put words on paper that Bob can't read, and everyone in the audience was just like,
is that okay to make a joke on?
You're not actually disabled, you're just stupid.
I'm not illiterate, so I can read, but paragraphs I struggle with. So like when there's a word, I'm fine. 2 words, oof.
To everybody in the comments who are saying you're not mixing that correctly, he can't read. You won't be able to tell.
I can't tell if there's any safety warnings here because I can't read. I'll tell you in a few years. What was that guy from Art Attack that was in a metal band? What's his name? I'm going to get ripped apart in the comments by a load of people who've never done this before. This is the usual YouTube thing. This is an oxyacetylene torch. What we do to set a flame, open the fuel first. Oh yeah, there's a little gap there. You close the fuel down until the gap disappears. And then you've got all the black soot that's coming off it. Then you open the fuel again until the black goes away, okay? Notice that the gap hasn't reappeared. And then we start to add the oxygen very gently. And then you can start to see it clean up. Then we've got a flame, which is called a feather, okay? So that's quite cool. Don't do that at home. What we want is a very soft flame like this, but this one is too big. So I'm going to start turning down the fuel a little bit. Now what this is actually doing is it's focusing all that heat. So it's still the same temperature, it's just in one little area down here. But this is a very soft flame. We want a soft flame so we can get the rod in without the rod melting prematurely. That never happens. This will go up to a few thousand degrees. We only need 660 degrees, or probably way less. So we're gonna have a go at this now. So we're gonna warm up the workpiece to the melting temperature of the filler rod. So you'll start to see the water evaporating from the flux with a nice even heat across everything. Now, I was thinking this would flow kind of like when you're soldering pipes, but it didn't. It was really hard and like it didn't flow very nicely. It was a lot more like brazing. Now, I've had some experience with brazing, but about 15 years ago when I did my apprenticeship, I was trying my best to remember exactly how it worked, but I couldn't get it to look nice like I used to. But it does turn out it's very, very strong. Not bad for a first go. First time I've ever tried that. So we brazed half of it from here to here, and I'm going to try and peel it apart, see how strong it is. That's actually very impressive. I was actually ripping the aluminium.
Let's hope it wasn't just beginner's luck.
No such thing. I'm just skilled in everything. I never mess up. I owe HMRC £38,000. So now we're going to try to apply what we've just learnt from soldering or brazing that other piece of aluminium. We're going to apply it to this radiator. I should buy a brush. So my problem at the moment is I've gone a bit too far too fast. This doesn't fit down in there. So likely what's happened when it was being manufactured, this wasn't attached to this and this was put in before. So when it was popped in, it was flared out and then soldered, where, you know, it's been ripped out now and I can't get it back in because of that flare. I could tap it down with a soft hammer, but I'm afraid of denting this because it's pretty much soft material. I should drill out there, but I don't want to get any bits of flakes of metal and stuff into the radiator.
Oh yeah, we're here to braise a radiator.
I'm gonna try and really heat the aluminium, see if we can get this flowing more like plumbing solder. Now, aluminium melts at really low temperature, so I'm being really careful here not to turn the whole radiator to liquid. I've not told my mom about the VAT thing yet. This is how she's going to find out. Sorry, Mom.
Could be worse, Bob. Could be how you sign the VAT, guys.
I owe you 38,000. So we're evaporating all the water first. It's just a flux left. So what I'm looking at, what I'm really paying attention to, is the bits that are coming off the flame once it's hit the part. So what we call like the emissions. If they start to change colour, they go like a weird orange or a purpley pink colour, that's the aluminium telling me that it's about to turn into a liquid. So all this grey mucky stuff you see around here is all the flux that we put on earlier. So I'm going to clean all that off now with a wire brush and see what it looks like under. I love Grinder. My dad showed me how to use Grinder when I was about 7. So it's not bad. It's not as pretty as I was hoping. First time aluminium brazing though. Things I'd do differently. Next time I'm definitely going to use aluminium solder. It melts at a much lower temperature, so I don't need to put so much heat into it. And I'll give a nicer look to make it look a little bit more like OEM. Lessons learned. So I'm going to charge the customer £75 for this, which is an absolute steal because a second-hand radiator from a G Wagon is £300. It's the cheapest one I could find. So customer's happy, I'm happy, and we're going to take that money and minus it off our £38,000 debt. So if you're wondering how you can help us pay off our HMRC bill, you can send in your parts to me. I can save you money and I can fix something that might be rare or sentimental to you. Things I can fix for you are stuff like this,
Not this.
this, and these. Or those. Our goal is to give you value for money repairs and to pay off our HMRC bill. But we've also got the new workshop coming up, which we need money for. So once we've got the HMRC stuff paid off for, I'm going to continue on this series and keep fixing your stuff until we get enough money to kit out the new place. We're going to make a YouTube video just like this about the thing you want us to fix. So if you want to send in your stuff, go on my website, themachineshop.co.uk. Contact us and you can press the WhatsApp button. Send a very short, brief, easy to understand and clearly worded video, no longer than a minute long, about what you want me to fix, okay? And I'll get back to you and let you know if it's possible. By the way, I don't work on rusty old steel cars, so if your MX-5 is knackered, find somebody else. I'm not interested.
You need your sarcastic like and subscribe.
No, nobody ever follows that. I'm not really arsed about it. Core Spirit the Machine Shop is an open access workshop where you can come and use all of my kit and do this sort of stuff for yourself. We're moving to a bigger place with car ramps and spray booths and all the rest of stuff. So if you're interested in doing this sort of stuff yourself, you can come along. Just Google us, read about Machine Shop on the website, book in, come along. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully you'll be seeing a lot more of me fixing your stuff. Hello, it's Bob here. I owe you £38,000. Do you take cash?